Hello and welcome to the Happy, Healthy, Strong podcast. This is a podcast dedicated to helping you live a happier, healthier, and stronger life. Building a life that you love starts with you owning your health and intentionally creating the best version of yourself. So if you're looking to better understand how proper nutrition, daily movement, mindset work, and strength training can help you create a life full of happiness and health, then you are in the right place. I generally hope that the tips, tricks, and information that we share will be the catalyst for change. I'm your host, Adam Lane. It's time to dive in. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Happy, Healthy, Strong podcast. I'm your host, Adam Lane. With us today, Rachael Erickson.
Hello.
12-year Oak Strength veteran. Rachael, it's like we've done this before.
Yeah.
Man.
Lots of times.
Holy cow. Not only the ones that have been published, but even unpublished ones. The B-sides, if you will, that no one will ever hear. Not because of technical difficulties or anything, just because, we can't put all the greatness out there.
Nope.
It might break the internet.
Yeah.
Rachael, for the want to have you on the show again. You were on episode 10 with Sally, and then episode, I think it was 50 something with Deb and Lonnie.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're bringing it back. Episode 111, I think, is where we're at, somewhere in there. 111, 112. Which is crazy. That's that many episodes. It's also more crazy that you've been a part of this gym for 12 years.
I'm an OG.
You're an OG, which is crazy to think about. Talk to people if they don't know your story is interesting, because it's not like, no offense to you, you didn't come to us being this massive high level former collegiate athlete that was doing. You came looking for some fitness, and you haven't left.
Right. You kept me hooked.
Yes. Well, and because I'm curious, you came with some injury stuff. Talk about your whole, that initial early time.
Yeah. So,
12 years ago.
Yeah, 12 years ago. So I had, back when I was early on, I had knee issues, rolling ankles, things like that. And then when I was around 19 years old, after tons of dislocating kneecaps happening in middle school with volleyball and basketball and cheerleading and all that fun stuff. I had gone through physical therapy and nothing was seemed to be correcting what was wrong. And it was bone on bone grinding, and it was too young for that.
Yeah,
so
at the age of 19.
And at 19.
Yeah.
And they had said, oh, well, we'll just got to wait, for knee replacements at that time. Obviously, there's more advances in medicine, but they pretty much said at that time, you can't ride a bicycle, you can't run, you can't do this and that. Thankfully, I did not listen.
Yeah.
And
way to buck the system, Rachael. Jeez.
And I had, and I'm still teaching, but I had started teaching, and a group of other teachers had been at your garage gym and said, hey, they're opening this gym up by you in Roscoe. You need to come check it out. And so I did. And I'm really thankful I did, because I wasn't able to even do a simple thing like a squat. And even recently, having an MRI done, I no longer have bone on bone grinding. There's muscle built up around the knee. I do have some cartilage left, and there's no further damage, and they're telling me just keep doing what you're doing because it's working out well. So,
So it's funny because, listeners, let's be clear here. We recorded this podcast yesterday and I screwed it up. And so we're re-recording it today. But it gave me 24 hours in which to reflect on your little journey. Cause I remember you coming in and starting with all these issues, and us being young into this gym space, being like, well, we just want to throw down and get after it. And you're coming in with all this baggage, like, oh my, like, we're not physical therapists, like, but you did a fantastic job of really listening to your body, starting at a very smart, intelligent, where you were type of spot. And got better and got better and got better and got better. And 12 years later, here you are.
Yeah.
Honestly, again, not to surprise me, but like if you would have told me that 12 years ago, that this girl, that the whole knee thing was really odd to me, because we have, some of our athletes have, they're young, they're female, hypermobile with things, and kneecaps will have moved, and depending if they've done strength training before, what sports they're playing. These sports are not easy. Jumping, landing, cutting, aggressive, hard, like, and then weird stuff happens. You land funny or something like that. Like, it's kind of a common thing. You brought it into adulthood and then, fought through it. And here you are.
Mm-hmm. And the coaches here too are amazing. They know when to push you, but not push you too far. And, they respect you for advocating for yourself, but then, they know when, okay, if I say, oh, I don't know if I can do that, they know when it's appropriate to challenge you and push you. So,
and that's a hard line too.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a hard thing to know when, somebody's sandbagging it a little bit and they need to go harder, or, honestly, if you come in on a day where you are just stressed out, you had a crappy day at school, and you're ready to rip somebody's head off, like you probably don't need more stress. Like less is more then. Mm-hmm. And just to be happy that you're in the gym.
Yep. And it's really nice that there is always someone though here being attentive to your needs, because you can't get that someplace like going to the YMCA or whatever. The classes are fun. You can, do their classes, but that person isn't watching to make sure that your form is correct. And a lot of people get injured doing those classes because it's so fast paced. And kind of like when we started, when it was a CrossFit gym, it's very competitive and fast paced. Again, we knew the coaching was still very good, and, we know our bodies, that there didn't tend to be injuries, but it's so much nicer now where it's not that fast paced competitiveness. And you just, it is everything's modifiable, but you can come in and be flexible with your workout. So you come in, it's already up, you're ready to go. And then there's someone to be attentive to your needs. Yeah.
Well, and I think too, and you mentioned the CrossFit thing, and it's funny because looking back, early on, we were CrossFit. Like we drank the Kool-Aid, in doing their level 1 and their level 2, a lot of their information made a lot of sense. Mm-hmm. To actually he was able to, Glassman defined a definition of fitness and really laid it out mathematically. And that attracted me to this is measurable. This is great. How do you measure fitness? Like, oh, that person's super strong, but that person's super fast. And that person's kind of a combination. And, neither one of those guys can swim, but this person can swim. But then you look at Simone Biles and you're like, who's the most athletic? Well, hey, if you blur this together and there's some very interesting thoughts there. However, when it led into the actual training, the training ended up being insanely competitive. Mm-hmm. And every day there was a race. And it's interesting because that's how we started. A lot of people really like that. I think we've lost people through the years that didn't like that. Mm-hmm. Because it's no fun losing. It's no fun being last. Mm-hmm. You're going at your speed. You're doing it for you. Yeah. But it's also embarrassing. Everybody else is done working out, and you're still plowing along, and everybody's.
Sometimes you felt like the workout, you felt defeated.
Yeah.
Like there were just some workouts that I remember, it wasn't often, but it's almost like you want to be in tears because it's like, I know I'm good at this, but just this workout, it's kicking my butt too. Yeah. And I don't feel like I can do it. And I'm pushing myself as hard as I can. And, when you're in a time crunch and I didn't make it that many rounds in that time crunch, it's deflating to you.
Which is tough because that's not what working out should be.
Right.
It should be very the dead opposite of that. It should be uplifting.
And everything now is all the workouts are achievable.
Yeah.
So
I think we found a nice little grind because, just to give people a 12-year history in a very short period of time, start off extremely CrossFit and then bebopped and officially 4 years ago dropped the CrossFit affiliation. But still, we had level method program and stuff like that. Still looked CrossFit-y. Like it's still and then specifically recently over the last quarter plus, we've very much written direct programming to drive people's strength, because really that we feel that that's the biggest thing for people, like that strength piece, muscle mass, being strong. You get ready for winter here and shovel your driveway, push the lawnmower and, just do what humans need to do. With strength being the big deal, because we've run different cycles before, but like you end up losing your strength if you're not focusing specifically on that. Or we do a blankety blank cycle, but we stop squatting. And so all of a sudden our squat goes down, but the other thing went, and it's hard to keep everything going. Like it is like, that's why you have to periodize stuff. But, I love how you love the strength piece so much. Cause I think that's been a big thing for you and your health.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially cause, I've been unbalanced when I started, like I'd feel, I'd have the bar overhead and I feel like my, the bar straight and my arms feel locked out and it'd be on a lean, so I
remember taking pictures.
Yes.
Like, Rachel, look.
So we do work a lot more now on symmetry too. So that I do feel like has helped obviously balance out, or, even with a squat, I might be, like leaning towards or, favoring one side. And I do feel like we focus now more on that single symmetry or evening yourself out. And, because we do take our time more on conditioning pieces and lifts and things like that, it helps you even your body out.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's the thing that we used to rush through back in the day, like I remember forever, all of a sudden during a CrossFit Open, they threw out lunges, and it's like, we have been lunging. Like it's not one of the 9 foundational movements. We're not lunging. Oh my gosh, and then we started to lunge and it was the worst pain in the world for people. Like we hadn't been, it's so silly to look at now. Like why? Like, I remember people doing it for like, banging their knees into the ground and stuff like that. Cause you're trying to go fast. Looking back, why the heck did it need to be fast? Cause it's a race. How fast can you be? And which again, I get if you're an athlete, but if you're, a teacher, or an accountant or, fill in the blank, regular job, you're not going to the CrossFit Games. You're trying to be healthy. And honestly, having more control of those movements might be a better thing for you than probably is. I'm almost 100% sure is, versus just like running through the motions. And that's, that really can hurt yourself with.
Yeah. Especially as I get older, like back when I first started CrossFit, we did some competitions. I enjoyed doing that. It was fine. But now as I get older, that's something I definitely don't want to do. And even then it was so raced, and you had all these workouts in one competition, and it was a lot. And you'd go home and you'd be hurting. Like you'd be really sore. And so it's just nice to, like, I'm going just to be healthy. There's no competition. I'm just going so that I don't get injured. And I know that I won't get injured doing with the, with Sam or any of the coaches that are watching you, that they're really, really good and observant.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's what helped you with you specifically and your personality, because Rachel, not to throw out ages all over the place, but I have you by 5 years, 6 years. You started with us when you were 27. You're now almost 40. Oh my gosh, Rachel. But like I think you look in a non-creepy way. You look fantastic. You're strong. Your knees are feeling good. Like I think just again, with us being just a little bit ahead of you there, I feel like you've come along so nicely in the sense of, hey, early on, it was a little bit more competitive. You're not an overly competitive person. No. So you always stayed within your like capabilities, which I think is a skill that a lot of people don't have. Like they just want to go as fast as they can. They don't care if they round their backs during the deadlift. Which, why are you doing a rounded back deadlift? How is that going to help anything? It's not going to help anything. Like if you don't move really well, you're either A, not going to get the right muscles strong the way you need them to, or B, you're going to get hurt. And both are negative. You're less. Can I say less competitive? That's a fair statement. Okay. Yeah. There, you put your energy into other things.
Be competitive with myself.
Yes.
Like, I enjoy tracking like my weights, and
you did a good strict press day yesterday.
Yeah. So, I like pushing myself and being competitive with myself. But, Deb, for instance, Deb's, about maybe 20 years older than me or so. And, we just enjoy coming to the gym together because we're buddies. Like, we're not trying to compete with one another. Yeah. We're just happy we showed up for the day.
Yeah. How much weight do you have on that bar, Deb? Like, doesn't matter.
We might tease and push each other. Like Mark, for instance, like we might say, oh, you could do, that was really good. You can put 5 more pounds on there, 10 more pounds, but even it's just being encouraging. It's not pushing or, trying to push people too far or hurt anyone's feelings. It's all encouraging, and we're all a great community of friends here. And anyone new that comes into, we welcome anybody.
It is fun. New people come in, and there's the club that's already formed, but it opens up and
and I don't feel like we're cliquey at all here, because there's so many people. Like sometimes I'll come at 9 a.m. Sometimes there's so many of us that rotate our schedules too, that I don't really feel like there are cliques.
Yeah, that has worked out really nice, because that's hard. And I do think, again, because we're not, and again, no poo-poo on CrossFit, because if not for CrossFit, we would not be here. The idea of like starting just a strength conditioning gym just from scratch, from nowhere, with no brand of anything, never crossed my mind at all. But then, hey, you could do this CrossFit thing, and it made it accessible and doable, and they're the reason why we're here. However, with that being said, to morph into what we are now, which ends up being a lot of strength throughout a training session, an adequate amount of conditioning, because we want you healthy, like so you could walk upstairs and not be out of breath, and walk the dog and not be out of breath. If you want to go run 5Ks and stuff like that, it's different training, and which is not bad. I'm just saying it's not what we do. But that strength piece for so many people, in the way of helping with hormones, helping with blood pressure, helping with blood glucose regulation, just makes people happy. Like it's nice to lift, weights. And really what you said right there with like, if Deb lifts something and it looks super easy to challenge, Deb, that looked awesome. If you want to add a little weight, you probably could, because like that's part of it. Like you need to lift something challenging, to challenge your body in which to grow. If Deb looked terrible on it, to tell her, oh yeah, you got it, just rip harder, add weight, like, because really that's when people get hurt. I know I'm to the age where I no longer will pull a 1-rep deadlift. Like there's no reason. I don't care. 3-rep, I'll do a 3. That's fine. But like trying to max out and I've tweaked the back a couple too many times, being stupid, chasing numbers because they matter. And they don't.
Yeah. And I like that you guys change with the times too. So like some of the strength pieces that we are doing aren't pieces we've done in the past, like today, the snatch deadlift. Yeah. But it's all pieces that are going to help us be better.
Yeah. That's a challenge. I hate that movement. That is a rough movement. Yeah. Hurts my hands. It's wide.
And you have to get lower, but it forces you, it's a really good movement. So we are incorporating new pieces too.
Yeah, no, that's been fun. Oh, my child, obviously he doesn't eat any food, Rachel. Gets no food, this child. I do want to highlight the biggest thing about you and what I want people to get from this. Cause I do appreciate, Rachel, I really appreciate your loyalty and your consistency, and it's been fantastic, because running a small business is much more stressful than I anticipated it being. I just thought we'd put CrossFit on the wall and people would come flooding in and be the easiest thing in the world. Hard as heck, it turns out. But what I want people to get out of this is, and I appreciate all your kind words, but I want them to understand that if you're in your 30s, 40s, or 50s, and you are trying to get healthy, and really this is what you've done. You've had great weeks. You've had less than great weeks, but in 12 years, we think you put your membership on hold once for a month because you put a lot on your plate. That's right? Yep. Isn't that right? Yep. You're teaching and tutoring and doing 1,000 other things and break. But talk about that consistency piece, because I think it's so not exciting, but it's so important.
So even if I map out my week, but even if I can only come 1 day a week, I need to make it a priority that I come that 1 day a week. I try to come at least 3 days a week, but things always come up, or you might not feel well, whatever it might be. Yeah. But
3's pretty awesome.
You try to come, and sometimes I treat it like a job, but a job I enjoy coming to.
Yeah.
I need to come straight after work because I know the minute I go home, I'm going to sit on the couch and not want to get up and, do anything.
Yeah.
So at least here, coming here, I enjoy coming here. You do still make it a priority, even if you feel like crud and you just want to go home and lay down because you're super tired. You always feel great once you're here and so happy that you did do the workout. So you still have to make it a priority to come.
Yeah, that's one major thing that in 12 years, I know I've pivoted on. I used to almost take pride. Nope, not almost. I did. I took pride on writing some killer workout that would leave somebody, dead on the floor. And I feel, oh my gosh, look at that. Take that, Tom. What'd you think of that? That was awesome, wasn't it? And Tom's, but Tom's got to go home to 3 kids and a wife. And he's got all these things going on. And what I am very pleased with the training now is that ideally, yes. Did you work? Yes. You just worked out. You're able to do a podcast. You're fine. You have a job to go to tomorrow. You have to be on your A game. You got a bunch of little 8-year-olds that, you're testing and things tomorrow. And you have to be on your A game. You can't be dead to the world because, hey, I did this workout. I kicked my ass. It's just, that's absolutely asinine. But that's not how I thought about training. Now, I was also 32 and I could do anything when I was 32. Now, almost 45, it's a different world. But I think that's what has helped the community too. Cause it's an enjoyable thing when you leave and you feel good versus you leave and you feel like you got your, face kicked in. Where I was going with that. Oh, back to the consistency, Rachel. So what I do think is crazy. Cause if you do, gosh, it's interesting to think about how many classes you've done. And if we were a good gym, we'd really have this added up right now. But we've changed softwares a few different times. Numbers have been lost. I guarantee, there have been how many different classes?
Paper journals
back in the day. Oh my gosh. Those were fun.
Yeah.
I remember Sally writing stuff down. She put on her glasses and just write. Oh gosh. I don't know. We probably had a bonfire. I don't know. Just threw them out in that dumpster. But the, for to look at, if you've come 3 days a week, sometimes more, sometimes at some point
in the summer.
Yeah. Back in the day, you did doubles.
Yeah.
Wow. Come in the morning, come in the Well, and now I think there's a thing too. Not only that, but there's also a thing with allowing. My wife has figured out she does not like working out 2 days in a row. It just it fatigues her. She goes in to try to do, and it's just it sucks the soul. Mm-hmm. Now it's a catch-22. Where if her week gets goofy, and typically she's Monday, Wednesday, Friday, but if all of a sudden her Monday blows up, now she has to come in Tuesday, Wednesday. Now all of a sudden she's extra tired on that Wednesday, so it's she sees how she feels. If she feels good, she does it. But if she doesn't, she'll just maybe only do 2 days that week or whatever it is. But to think that you've done, let's say on average, 3 days a week for say 50 weeks in the year, it's 150 training sessions in a year times 12. We're at 1,800 training sessions. It's funny when you say it out loud. Yeah. 1,800 training sessions, over the last 12 years. That's so much work.
Mm-hmm. Well, and if I would have stuck with a YMCA membership or gone to one of those gyms that make you do a diet, there's no sustainability there. So I never would have lasted, and most people don't last 12 years in gyms like those. So there's something to say about this community here. And so I really hope people enjoy coming here and, continue to come. Yeah, no, I appreciate that. Well, and I think it's amazing how I know we have a lot of people that come, the first time I haven't worked out in years and blah, 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 blah. And you can tell, because well, whatever, a little different promos in which to get people in. But at the end of the day, we sit down with them and be like, hey, we don't want you here for 6 weeks. We want you here for 6 years. Mm-hmm. 6 weeks, we can do some things, but not much. 6 years, we can do a lot. Oh my God, 6 years. Yeah. If we can make this a habit, if we can get this into your schedule,
2, 3, maybe 4, but I'm good 2 or 3 days a week for the next 6 years. Like, that's somewhere between 600 and 750 classes, 750 training sessions. Like, I mean, just think of what you're going to look like.
Right.
Think of how you're going to feel. Like, that's a big deal for people. And I think it's hard for them to, wrap their heads around it. And I did the math wrong there. That wasn't 600. No, yeah, that's not right at all. Much more than that. You're 1,800, 900 to 600 to 900 classes. That's what I meant. Jeez, sorry. Nobody's checking my math. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Because I want to highlight this for people. And then Rachel will wrap up, because this is the second time we did this podcast. I think it's amazing if you do any strength program as consistently as what you've done it. If you have lifted weights 2 or 3 days a week for years on years on years on years on years, you're going to go into your 40s better than what you were in your 30s. You're going to go better into your 50s better than what you were in your 40s. Okay, you're gonna feel decades better than what people your own age do. Because I'm amazed. I'm almost 45. I have friends that are on so many different drugs for blood pressures and things and blah blah blah. And it's like, what are you doing? Like, you're not.
Look at your gray tennies.
Oh, okay.
I mean, some of them are pretty strong with what they can do too.
My mother-in-law is very proud of her lifting. And you know this by just asking her, because she will go and she will not hold back. She'll tell you how strong she is and how much stronger that she is than a lot of other people. She's a comparer. She's competitive, Rachel. You're not, which I appreciate. But I don't know. That whole, I want people to understand, like, that is the big deal here. Like, if you're able to do something consistently, specifically the weight training thing, in my opinion, if you can hang on to Orange Theory for 12 years, good for you. But I think, insane cardio 3, 4, 5 days a week, I think just exhausts people at the end of the day. And I did the triathlon distance running thing for a really long time, and I got tired of it. But the lifting thing, I think, is always healthy, regardless of who you are and what you're trying to do. Awesome. Rachel, what did we miss?
Think anything. I'm trying to think from the yesterday's podcast.
Yes. Yesterday's was great too. Guys, the audio was terrible, but the content, super good. Super good.
I think we covered it all again.
2 for 2 here. That's not true. 1 for 2 is really what it was. No, but Rachel, I do appreciate you jumping on the podcast twice. Very much appreciate you as a member here. This is great as a friend. I think it's so crazy that, that 12 years ago this started up, and with as much as we've changed, because again, people who have left us, like, I guarantee you they left us because we're different than what we used to be, and they liked what we used to be. And I've no problem with that. Like, we are different. If you go to McDonald's and all of a sudden they don't have the Big Mac, and you're used to the Big Mac, you want the Big Mac, you don't go to McDonald's. Like, I totally get that. But as much as we changed and pivoted and stuff like that, and I'm so proud and so happy with where we are right now. And for you and Deb and, all the others to find this and actually gel with what they're doing. I don't know. Heather and I feel insanely supportive. So thank you so much.
You also have to give change a chance too.
Yes.
You can't just say, I don't like it, I'm done, So you have to give it a chance too.
What? Being open-minded?
Otherwise, we definitely, we'll come to you when we don't like something.
This is true. I've been... I got a little message from one of our long-term members on Sunday night saying, "Hey, Adam, the last week looks really similar to this week with the training." Da, 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 da. And if you just look at it from like there's superhuman protocol here, there's superhuman. Oh, that's weird. Like, it's like odd. But like, if you dig into it, like, you can see the progression, you can see the thing. We're only running it for 2 more weeks. Come October, Squattober, things are going to change. And so I made that little video about just kind of, hey, it's a progression, and it's like, oh, I thought it's not the answer I was hoping for, but so yes, no, I do hear that piece too, which is absolutely fine. So, anywho, listeners, thanks for listening. Moral of the story: be like Rachel. Find a training program that you can do 2 or 3 or 4 days a week for 12 years, and then call me in 12 years and let me know how your life is. It's that easy. Yeah. Awesome, Rach. Thanks so much. Yep. Listeners, thanks for listening. We'll catch you on the next one. That's all we have for you today. If you have any questions or want to chat or interested in seeing what we're up to in between episodes, head over to Instagram and Facebook and follow @OakStrength. Also check us out at oakstrength.com. If you like this episode, please share it with someone who wants to live happy, healthy, and strong. If you really liked it, subscribe and review the Happy, Healthy, Strong podcast on iTunes or Spotify. Be sure to tune back in next week and remember to keep owning your health.